Welcome to Grassroots Unfiltered. It's a different episode today. We are filming remotely. I feel a lot more comfortable actually. I'm in my own house. You're lucky you're not seeing me in my dressing gown. And today I'm joined by Dom Newton to talk about life as a football parent. Dom, thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. It's nice to be at this side of the microphone. Normally I'm at the other side.
You've got a lot more experience than me with this kind of stuff.
But let's explain to the listener that I'm normally producing this podcast.
Yes, you are the producer.
but yeah, that's what I'm here for.
It's great to have you on. I've wanted to do an episode with you since I first met you because I know of your experiences in the game, in Grassroots. But for this episode, we're going to talk about your experiences as a parent. So how did your child first get into Grassroots football?
I don't want to say I forced him to do it, but I think like most dads, you want, and you when you've got a son, you do start imagining him playing football, don't you? And yeah. I really wanted him to play, and our local team were Guiseley. So I took him up when he was about 5 to his first training session, and it was just a really good setup at Guiseley. They had good coaches. They made a big deal of players signing on. They did a big event at an indoor place. And yeah, he'd loved football a lot since before playing. But for Guiseley, he'd done a lot of kicking around in the garden with his half brothers and stuff. So yeah, it was a case of me just taking him along to Guiseley, which had a really good reputation locally, and then him just having a really good first session. That the coach that he had in his first session had coached at Man City and stuff, so he just got really lucky.
Right.
Through my years of playing as a kid and stuff, I knew that Guiseley had this great reputation. It was a no-brainer to take him there. He's been there ever since. Like, he's still there now. He's 16. It's the last year that they're going to be running, which is a bit weird. But I do feel very lucky as a dad to have got him into that situation in a good team that he's been able to play for all of his Sunday League career, basically.
Yeah. And Guiseley are semi-pro out there. They've got they've got a really good setup down there. Is there not then the progression to go into the under 23s? Do they have anything like that?
They do, yeah, but it's kind of for a select bunch of players. So despite the fact my lad's, a pretty good footballer, Guiseley have an academy which runs like parallel to Guiseley's Sunday League team, which is the one my lad plays for.
Right, okay. So it's a bit different to most other, your local grassroots team then, isn't it?
I guess so, just because there is that professional team at the end of it. But yeah, Guiseley Juniors and Guiseley, like the first team, there's no direct route there. I mean, if you're going to get into the Guiseley first team, you need to be chosen to be in the Guiseley Academy. Which about 7 of the players in Teddy's team are. So they train with us, but they also train with that academy as well.
All right, okay. So what were your first impressions then of Grassroots? How did you find it?
Well, I've been in grassroots football since I was 5, so I've always kind of known what to expect, even when it was, taking my own son. But looking at it from a parent's point of view, it was different because when you play footy yourself, you're in control of that. But when your child's playing, you kind of want to be, it's like FIFA. You want to be able to make them do this pass or make them shoot, and shout a bit. And learning not to do that, I found really difficult. Like, I did shout stuff originally, like when I was younger, and when Teddy was little, you're shouting little bits of advice. So much so actually that I did become the coach of that team eventually, with another mate, because not that I wanted to control it or anything, but it's just like the coaching is when you're like me, like a frustrated footballer not playing. Coaching where you can have a bit of an impact and improve them and help them, develop as players. That was like the outlet for me, and I loved it. I absolutely loved doing the coaching.
It's just for the love of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Play.
Being involved class, as you know. Exactly, Ollie. As you know, you coach your lad and you put a lot of your own time and effort into it. And you do it because you love seeing your son in that situation, don't you? You love them playing.
Yeah.
And if you're anything like me, your son loves you coaching and loves that you're there, almost like a teacher, really. I think that.
I don't know if it's
So yeah, I just really have loved. I've loved footy all my life, you know. And I still look back fondly on times when, you know, I was a kid and playing for my school footy team, and I played for Shipley Juniors and Bolton Woods and Sandy Lane, all these places where I had some of the fondest memories as a kid.
Yeah.
And then naturally, you want that for your son. If they're interested in football, you want to find a good grassroots setup for them, and it's massive for a kid. Like it's amazing. Like loads of my core memories and loads of Teddy's core memories, I'm sure, are from his Sunday league. You know, Teddy remembers goals that he scored when he was 5. And,
right.
you know, that save your lad made the other day up at Bradford Park Avenue, he's going to remember that for the rest of his life.
I know, it sounds weird, but that is one of the proudest moments I have ever been in. The game was so tight. It was 4-3, I think, and he made that save to stop it becoming 4-4, and then they ran up and scored other end and made it 5-3.
It's such a good feeling as a parent.
Like, a bit like a local rivalry, and it was just amazing. Honestly, I said to him after, I said, I can't believe you've done that. You know, to make a save in that kind of like pressure moment, pressure situation.
It's the best feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best feeling, and taking yourself away from being a coach when you're just a parent and you see your son do something that you probably wouldn't have been able to do at that age is the best feeling ever. Like, I love watching my son play, and I love being a parent with no sort of like, there's no sort of pressure on you or anything when you're the parent. I love it. I love watching him play, and I hate when he feels frustrated, and I hate when he doesn't get the minutes that he might want or play in the position he wants. But watching them play and then watching them score or make a save it's such a good feeling. I love it.
I think when, like you say, when you just turn up and you can just enjoy it. You can just enjoy your Saturday, Sunday morning.
Oh, I don't know if I enjoy it all the time.
And just watch them.
Yeah, I mean, there are times where I don't enjoy it. You know, he's in a very, very good footy team now, and he spends he spends about a quarter of a game on the bench generally.
Right.
I get frustrated for him, and you know that you kind of want to shout out to the coaches, don't you? Like, what are you doing? Put him on! Come on and get him in the game.
Mm.
So I do still find things like that hard, and I have always throughout in play, you know, frustration of making wrong passes and not shooting when he should and stuff like that. But you realise that's part of the development. You've got to keep your mouth shut. They know better than you, you know, and let them develop. Because if you're on the sidelines as a parent shouting instructions, it's not FIFA, is it? You can't control them. You've got to let them learn for themselves.
Yeah, they're not learning. And I think when we had Toffee on as well, he said something very similar, and it's a coaching moment. It's not a tell you moment. It's not one of them where you should be shouting instructions or.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Because he said, didn't he, on that episode that parents are there for encouragement, and he's spot on. Parents should be there encouraging, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. So what do your usual weekends entail? Your football weekends, is it full of football or is it?
Yeah, it is, and it's annoying, I'll be honest, because I work in sport as well. But so yes, Saturday, if Bradford City are at home, we'll go and watch Bradford. Again, that's something that as a dad you dream of, isn't it? And I get to do that with my son every week, and I never ever take that for granted. It's class when, you know, you get to share the promotion and stuff. You get to witness that together. It's the best feeling in the world. I love it, and I'd say that it's the thing that brings us close as a father and son is Bradford and going to the games together. And I mean, he loves it more than me, and he shouts more than me, and he's more passionate than I ever have been. And if you've ever listened to an episode of Bantam's Banter, which is a podcast I used to do, you wouldn't believe that anyone could be more passionate than me. But I mean, that makes me look like I was pretending. To be honest, he absolutely lives and breathes it. So we do that, and then on a Sunday, he's playing games all over the Bradford district, where sometimes can be over in Oakworth, and then other times you're up in BD4, and doing all these long journeys. But I love it. It's class. I absolutely love it, and I remember what it feels like when you're a kid to be in the car with your dad going to a game and getting excited about it. And in your own head, you're playing in like a professional Champions League game. And I love that he feels that just like I did. It's the best, and I drive a million miles to take him to a game. I love it. I absolutely love watching him play.
Absolutely. I used to play up front for a bit, and I'd stand on halfway line, and when action's going on over there, I'd be thinking in my head, I'm going to do this. When ball comes to me, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to turn and run on score, and majority of the time it didn't happen, but I still remember now just like how much I enjoyed football, just being on that pitch. And
but your son will be feeling that. That's the best bit about it. That's why I love it. That's why I'm not bothered that I can't play anymore because I'm fat and rubbish, because I get to watch my son play, and I get to watch him do really well. And my dream is actually to get fit, because I was relatively young when Teddy was born. I was only 23. So my dream would be, now he's like 16 and he's approaching an age where he could play open age footy. My dream is to play in a match with him.
Right.
So I'm going to try and get fit again, because honestly, I am a blob at the minute. And I used to be a quite handy footballer, but I can't move now. I saw a video of myself playing in a veterans football match. I did. That is true. I did. I don't want to show off on this podcast, but I did score an absolute banger at Valley Parade in the summer. And I thought, bloody hell, I've still got it here. Maybe I'll get fit. But I watched a video of me running away from scoring that goal, and my belly's about 4 yards in front of me, and my belly gets to halfway line before I do. So I'm determined to get fit and to be able to play a match with my son. I'd love that. And I have sort of, he came to play in there's like a bunch of mates like over 40s that play a match, and Teddy came to play, and it was actually class. He made us all look stupid. So yeah, my dream is that he plays open age locally, and I get to play at least like a few games with him. But I need to get fit. I can't do it at the minute. It's embarrassing the way that I play football now. I look like, the man on the fire exit sign. That's what my posture's like when I'm running, and I need to fix that. I look awful.
I think when I've watched the podcast back, I think I sit like that, right, hunched forward.
Oh, mate, that's just us. Like our generation, we're all crouched over at our laptops and stuff. I mean, I'm sitting here now, slouched over like a pro.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep my back straight, even though it's a face on view. And you've spoke really passionately there about the positives and how so much closer you and your son are through football. But what are the challenges then?
Oh man, there are so many.
What's really hard to deal with?
Well, what I'm going through, I mean, we've had loads of challenges. Firstly, he broke his leg, like a bad injury. It was a first game of the season as well, and he'd had a great start. He scored a couple of goals in friendlies and was feeling really good about himself. And then he was playing in a cup game. He scored in the cup game, and then a goalkeeper rushed him, and it was a red card challenge. Absolutely crushed him, but snapped his leg and broke his knee, and it pulled the top of his shin bone off, basically. And he needed a big operation. He was out for a year. That was awful. Having to see your son go through that's pretty grim. It's a really bad injury. But he came back so positive. He was fitter than ever when he came back. Started scoring loads of goals. But he's a striker, so he's a confidence player. Even at like amateur grassroots level, confidence is what means you score goals. He scored, I think, 6 games in a row. He'd scored like 10 goals in the season, and he was so excited. And then I don't know what it was, but he started playing against some of the tougher teams in the league, bigger lads. when kids get to sort of like 14, 15, 16 in grassroots football, they're all different sizes. You get some lads that are tiny and some that are 6 foot. It's a weird era. And he kind of got the confidence knocked out of him, really. And then he's gone like maybe 5 or 6 games now without getting a goal. And that's hard because there's nothing I can do about it. But it means that, if you don't start a game and stuff like that, that's one of the hardest bits about being a parent is if it's not going, your lad's way, it's really hard. And that's kind of it, really. I think that Sunday League football's amazing and there are so many positives, but the things that are out of your control are the things that kind of get you down when you wish you could do something. You wish you could help them find their form again.
You just want to pick them up and just give them a cuddle and just be like, look, it's fine.
Yeah, and I know it's... yeah, exactly. And I know it's only Sundays, it's only Sunday League football. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares other than the players that play for that team and their coaches and parents. But it's a massive deal to those kids. Like, it means a lot to them. They kind of look forward to the match during the week. They want to do well. They dream about scoring. They're imagining scoring. So when they're frustrated, and you've got to watch your kid be frustrated, it's hard. It's really hard to... And all you can do is offer them words of encouragement. And, sometimes I'm honest with him. Sometimes I'll say, yeah, you didn't really play that well. What could you do differently? What would you have done differently?
Yeah.
But in actual fact, it's better to not talk to them about it. If he knows that he's come off and he's not done as well as he would have liked, the better thing to do is sit in the car on the way home and say nothing. Or just encourage him, because I've done it before where I've said, yeah, you probably should have played that ball, or if you'd just taken more shots you might have got a goal, and it's really not the right thing to do.
No, like you say, they're already in their own head about it, aren't they? They know if they've made a mistake, or they know if they've not had the best game. So you just literally reopening old wounds, aren't you, for them, on fresh wounds.
It's a big deal for them, but really you want to help them relax. Because when I watch my lad at training, he's so carefree, he's skillful, don't matter if he makes a mistake, he's not bothered, he's just trying to develop his own skill. But in a match, he puts pressure on himself because you're imagining in your head that you're a pro, you've got to do well, you want to score, you've got to do this, you've got to assist, you've got to impress your coach. And really, you don't need to put that pressure on yourself in Sunday League football. It doesn't really matter. You just got to go out there and enjoy yourself. But
I think that's
when you're a teenager...
We all did it. We all was on the pitch imagining that we're going to score or do this and that. There were times when I were kicking ball against the wall in the street and some guy with his dog, he would just glanced over at me and I thought, bloody hell, he's a scouting. So I started trying to do all these tricks and stuff, you know what I mean? Kids are just obsessed with wanting to be a professional footballer.
Yeah.
They're idols, aren't they?
Yeah, the weird thing is, though, when you're a kid, you feel like you're Beckham or Zidane. You feel like you've got that posture, that composure. But I've got an old family video where my dad filmed me playing Sunday League, and I look bad, like not a good footballer. But I remember the game that he was filming, and I felt like I was amazing. Like, that game was the most important thing that was ever happened to me. And I thought I was brilliant, and I thought I was running down the wing and all these skills. And I watch it now, and I look pathetic. I look bad. And it's weird that as a kid, you have that mentality where this is the most important thing in the world. And I think it's really important for coaches to remember what it felt like for them when they were a kid, how important that match is, and why getting a fair amount of minutes is important to kids. Like, whether you think that kid is talented or not, to that kid, that game is super important, and you should really try to give kids fair minutes. Yeah, and I've been in the position as a coach where I've maybe had a player that was a weak link, and I've thought, I don't really want to put him on because it could derail us here with 3-0 up, but they could easily get it back at this level. I don't want to bring him on. And I look back sometimes and think I should have just let that kid play.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? What the hell was I doing? But
yeah,
it's
since I've started this podcast, I've had so many conversations, and I think I won't say I was ever um, in one of them positions where I've done that or not played a player, or I've seen it happen to Noah. Noah's not had game time in a competitive district match, and I know how much it hurt him. But when it does get to that competitive age, I understand where some coaches would say, look, I'm sorry, you're not going to get game time this game if it's going to be tight. But then, on the other hand, like you say, just give them 20, 50 minutes. I can see it
it's
from both sides.
It's hard, mate, because Teddy's going through a spell at the minute where he's not playing all that well. I don't want to say he's not playing well. I mean, he's playing well, but there are players that are doing better than him in his position or scoring more, maybe. So he's getting a bit frustrated that he's not starting games, or he gets started but then dragged off at half-time or whatever. And that is hard. And I don't like that for him. And I have spoken to the coaches and said, look, it's not on really, only a limited amount of players train on a Wednesday. And I feel like those players should be prioritised, really. But he's in a league now where they're in the top division of their age group. We've got a team that are relatively successful. We're in a cup final next month. We do traditionally pretty well in leagues. We've won leagues before. We've won cups before. So what do you want? That my son wants to play for a team that win.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult balance of him being frustrated, but also understanding that he's got to be a team player. And if he wants to play for a team that win, there are going to be times where if he's not on form and things, somebody might play more minutes than him. And that is really hard.
If the coaches are honest with the parents from the outset and at the start of the season, they say, look, this is what we will be doing this season, then I think then the parents can have a bit of an input and maybe give a little nudge and say, look, you might not get much game time this season, but you're with your mates, you might win, you might win a few things, a few tournaments or whatever. What do you want to do?
It's a weird balance though, because the FA's kind of mantra for grassroots football is that it's your responsibility as a football club and as coaches to develop players, to be fair, and there are a couple of other points that I can't remember. But you want to win. I've been there as a coach. You want to play your strongest players and win games. I get it. And again, it sounds daft to talk about this when it's only grassroots football, but it is important to those kids. And I guess as the coaches as well, it's important, which means then it's important to the parents. But
not at the lower groups, so, under 7s, 6s to bloody under 12s. But
yeah, at that age group, and I was involved in a coaching capacity at that age group, you do just play, everyone gets fair game time. Winning doesn't matter, it's all about developing them. It's when it gets to being teenagers, when they're kind of men really, and they've got banter with each other and they criticise each other and that's when it's harder. That's when it's harder, when they realise that they're not invincible and that they do make mistakes. That's when mentally I think it's quite hard for kids, and then it's hard for the parents, really.
We're getting to that age now where, these boys have started secondary school, testosterone's flying about, you've got some that are very mature for their age and they will, they'll dig someone out on pitch if a mistake's made. And then you've got others that are a bit more, they're not really about that. They're still a bit like Mike Noah. He's nearly a year younger than some of the lads in his team, so him socially is not at the same level as them. And
it is. This is one of the challenges I think as a parent, is how differently kids develop. And there was a great, the coach of the very first Guiseley team, so the under-5s, and he's like a mentor for that age group for Guiseley. He was called Kev, I think. And he said, one thing you've got to understand is that players' development isn't just like a straight upwards path, upwards trajectory. It goes in waves. Sometimes your son will be the best player in the team. He's developed really quickly, scoring loads of goals, and then he'll drop a little bit, and other players will catch him up, and then he'll go up again, and other players will catch him up, and other players around him will go up. everyone develops at different times. And that's so true. I see that all the time. Like Teddy went through a spell of being the best player in the team. He got picked up by Bradford City. He got to go to their actual academy and he was training with them. And that was really intense. That's a different kind of pressure there. But and then he plateaued. And everyone catches him up then and everyone gets on that level and then he'll go up a bit and then he went down a bit. I mean, when me and his mum split up, he went through a spell of being terrible, but it's because he had other stuff on his mind, I guess. He was dealing with a lot of other stuff. So there's all of that to deal with, and as a parent, you're dealing with that, but you've got to think about that young player as well, really. And football's their outlet, and if it doesn't start going well for them because of outside factors, it's a difficult one to deal with, really, because all you can do as a parent is encourage, and I think that's why it's so important that you're always positive. And I've been negative. I'm not saying this because I'm always positive. I'm not, and I haven't been in the past. I've said to him, "Oh yeah, you were poor today," or "You should have done better there." But really, you just got to be positive because it's not professional football. It's not earning money, and positivity is the one thing that could change his outlook for the next week.
Yeah,
like your lad saving that penalty. He's going to be on cloud 9. He's going to think he can save every penalty now. And that confidence will mean that he probably does save other penalties and does feel massive in that net. And
this penalty were a year ago. He's been living off that for a year now.
Yeah, right. Well, exactly. So that sort of positivity is important. Like I once, when I was a kid, scored a goal from a halfway line. Total fluke. I didn't mean it. I just couldn't be arsed running down the wing, so I wellied it as hard as I could, and it went in. And I was dining out on that for years, mate. Every time I got a ball on a halfway line, people would shout, "Shoo!" and stuff like that. And it's just, you don't want to rob kids of that joy by being a dick, basically, and being negative, whether they played well or not. Because if you're positive regardless, then what's the harm? It's not professional football, but your outlook on their game could change their week, could change their day.
I was gonna ask that. I was gonna say, like, how do you think, like, the parents' behaviour on the sideline, like, affects the whole outlook of the team, or example, like.
I've been a parent, so when I was married, I had a couple of older stepsons, and they played grassroots footy as well, and I was involved in that. So I've been involved for like 20 years probably, and I saw all sorts from parents. So I've seen a lot over those years, and you see loads of great stuff. And nowadays, because there's more of a spotlight on it, parents don't really say anything at the level Ted's at. But I've seen players swearing at referees, kicking off, going onto a pitch and shouting at players. And I've refereed a game and parents were shouting all sorts of abuse at me for decisions that I was making on the pitch. And I stopped a game once and went over to him and went, "Look, you can do it if you want. I'm just a parent, but I'm refereeing a game on a Sunday morning so that our kids can have a match."
Yeah.
And I think I said something like, "It's not the Champions League final. It's not that big of a deal. Just let them enjoy the game. If you think I've done something wrong, who cares? It's not going to change anything. Who cares? It's not a cup final. Leave it." And that was fine. But I've been involved in loads of stuff. Like we played at a place in Leeds, and the parents started offering us out. Like not for a meal, for a fight. Like they were like, "Come out and let's go for it." We've had that when our team's beaten theirs. I've been a coach approached me after our team had beaten theirs at home, and Teddy scored a penalty, and I think I celebrated by going, "Get in," because at their ground they'd started fighting our kids and stuff like that. So then I probably over-celebrated a little bit, Teddy scoring a penalty, and their coach came over to me at the end of the game and said, you got an effing problem, mate. If you want, we'll have a scrap now." I was like, "What is this? This is like kids footy. What impression are you making on your kids here by behaving like that?"
Yeah, and think it's all right.
Yeah, so I've seen all sorts, really. I've seen parents encouraging fights on the pitch and telling him to snap him, and it is scary. Like when it's your kid on the pitch and you're hearing parents say that, it's awful. It's really awful, but
I
it is the
always
minority.
With Noah being a keeper, I always kind of wince a bit when, say, if he's coming out to claim a 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
I always think, is that player going to leave his boot in? Is he going to slide in? You know, even though he's not going to get the ball. So even though I'm stood there as a coach, I'm petrified as a parent, thinking my lad could get hurt in this game, and especially
it's got to be harder as the parent and a coach of a goalkeeper. A mistake by a goalkeeper, I've seen parents react being like, "Oh God, he's done it again! Oh, this goalie is a pain! Oh, it always costs us." There's just nowhere to escape for a goalie. You know, parents rarely will be as harsh about a miss as they are about a goalkeeper making a mistake. And that's hard. Like, I wouldn't want to be a parent of a goalie, really, just because of, you know what parents are saying if they make a mistake. It's not nice.
Yeah, he's made a few mistakes, don't get me wrong, but he's also pulled off some saves where you think, well, for the past 3 seasons, he's won Players' Player of the Year.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been a stalwart in the net for the team. And don't get me wrong, the defence have helped him out as well. But I can't. I don't know. I find it hard to switch off the parent while I'm stood at the sideline as a coach, or I can't switch off the coach when I'm stood as a parent as well.
Well, yeah, you should, but you don't have to really. I mean, it's only, you know, it's grassroots football. You're giving your time away. You can still be a parent and a coach. You know, it's important. Your son needs that encouragement from you as his dad as well as his coach.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm bloody back him to the hills. Like, really, really proud of him. But I don't want him to think that there's so much more pressure on him than there actually is.
Yeah, there is more pressure on a goalie as well because he's a one-man team basically.
Yeah, and that's if you're an outfield player, I don't think I'd feel it that much. And my next question literally was, do you ever feel the pressure around performance or the results for your child?
Around his performance, I do, yeah, but there's nothing I can do about it. You know, every week I feel like, you know, there are things that he could have done differently. I mean, mostly I watch him and think he is way better than I was. He is so technically gifted, and he's Teddy's not the fittest player by his own admission, but he's a very intelligent footballer. He is kind of like a move ahead of everyone, but his lack of fitness does hold him back a little bit. And I watch him and think, God, I'm so proud of him. His movement there is great. And it doesn't matter if the rest of the team don't see it. I see it, and I know footy, and I know that that's good. So I try to encourage him with that a lot. But the older they get, the harder it is. And nobody really tells you this as a parent because they're going through so much. Puberty, GCSEs, girlfriends, and football means a lot to him. I mean, it means a lot to Teddy. Every game is so important to him, and he wants to do well. And when he doesn't do well, he's so hurt and he's so upset in the car. And although it's just grassroots football, it means a lot to him, which means it means a lot to me. And it's really hard to... I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that he feels like that, and there's not a lot I can do about it, really. But it's just life. I know it's part of life.
Because I remember going to school, especially in secondary school, going to school the next day, and you had other lads there that played for different teams, some of them even in the same league or division. And how did you get on yesterday? We lost. And then they'd be ripping into you. Because I know with our team, there's a few that they all go at the same school, and they'll probably take out of each other if they lost or they won. So they get it there as well. The day after, they've probably, or maybe put in a bad performance or something like that. So
but it's a fine line.
If they're getting it from the coach, then they're getting it from the parents, then they're getting it from kids at school as well.
Yeah, but it's a fine line, isn't it? Because it is quite an important part of life to deal with that sort of thing. You know, you don't want it too much, and you don't want your kid to be getting bullied or feeling the pressure for something that's supposed to be fun. But dealing with banter and dealing with adversity and dealing with people that are not very nice is quite an important part of life. You can't go through life thinking...
Completely agree.
But you don't want it for your kid. You know, if someone says a bad word to Teddy, I want to chin him, I'll be honest.
Yeah. But it's like if Noah goes to school and if he has made a mistake and someone would say whatever, say just brush it off, mate. No, you don't even need to let it upset you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a big deal, is it? And someone once said this to me when I was younger, and you know, people might criticize me for something, is that you don't really need to worry about it because people aren't thinking about you anywhere near as much as you think they are.
Yeah.
Mostly, people have got their own shit going on and they don't really care about you or what you've got going on. So, I mean, generally speaking, if someone's being negative about you, they're probably feeling insecure about their own performance or something, and they're just detracting from that by having a go at you. That's generally what the rule is.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I say, with bullies and people like that, they're only bullying because they're insecure about their own stuff.
Exactly.
It's just the way it is. So, well, I think we've already kind of covered that there, really, but do you think that some parents lose the sight of why kids play football?
Oh, in my experience, yeah, there's a lot of parents that... I mean, there was one parent and he was kind of helping out with the coaching. So this was when I'd stopped coaching. I was just a parent on the sidelines, and one of the other parents had been helping out coaching for a couple of weeks, and he spent the whole game shouting instructions at the players. And I said to him, you know, I was on crutches randomly at the time, and I crutched round, and I said, mate, what are you doing? You know, you can't control their every movement, otherwise they're never going to learn. You're distracting them because they keep looking over to you to make sure they're not pissing you off. So just, and I mean, I'm saying this very politely. I wasn't this polite, I'll be honest with you. But he'd lost sight of that. It's not about him. You know, they just went out there to play. You know, the coaches have tactics. You know, they'll pick the formation or whatever, and they want the kids to do certain things. But again, it's not professional football. They're not going to remember loads of tactics and stuff like that. Ultimately, and I don't know if you feel the same about when you were playing Sunday League, but your coach will say all sorts to you in dressing room or whatever, but you go out there and you just do what you want. You know, I'll play left wing and I'll run down the wing and try and put crosses in, but I'm not remembering what the coach has told me to do in the changing room, to be honest. And that's probably why I'm not a professional footballer.
I might say this, and if my coaches are listening and watching, I don't think they ever really gave us too many instructions. It was more about the basics, the give and goes, the 1-2s. Once you've released that ball, don't stand still and just admire your pass.
Exactly, and that's the role of a grassroots coach, perfectly explained, really. You're there to show them the basics. You know, you don't need to be getting into tactics until they're playing, I don't know, semi-pro or something. It's just not that important. Football, outside of getting paid to play football, is fun. It's supposed to be a laugh with your mates, or you're just getting some energy out. And, you know, especially at a time now where Teddy's doing his GCSEs, foot is a really important way of him getting his frustration out.
Yeah, it's just got to be that release for him, hasn't it, there, then?
Yeah, but I mean, back to your question about parents losing... Yeah, exactly. But back to what you were saying about parents losing sight, you still see it all the time, even though, you know, I recognise a lot of the parents from the sideline because our sons have been playing against each other for the best part of 11 years. And still some of those parents that have been watching for that long don't learn. They still shout all sorts of crap and abuse the referee and shouting stuff at the players about what they should be doing. And I used to do that when he was little, and you learn that it's pointless and you look like an idiot. So stop doing it. And I feel lucky that a long time ago I realised that as his dad, what I think about how the team are playing is completely irrelevant. I've just got to encourage him and his teammates as well. That's what's important as a parent.
That's another thing that I wanted to talk about. So, like in the car on the way home, do sometimes parents actually undermine coaches by saying too much in the car after a game? Oh, so and so shouldn't have been playing there. Should have been playing there. He shouldn't have been playing. Shouldn't have passed to him. Things like that. And then the coaches, who the majority of the time they only get an hour with them a week.
Yeah, and it's difficult. I was speaking to Teddy had training last night, and I was speaking to his coach about it. And some players hadn't turned up for training, and there were only 5 of them there. And for a team that's playing at the end of the table, that they are, a pretty well-oiled team, having so few players turning up for training is really difficult for the coach because they're giving their time up, and then parents not letting him know that they're not going to turn up is difficult for him because he's planning sessions and stuff like that. So there's that side of things as well where, benefit of the doubt, I don't think some parents realise just how invested the coaches are in it and how important training with the players is because they get so little time with them. And, just turning up on a Sunday, it's not great for bonding. Bonding as mates is a massive part of Sunday League football, and it makes you play better when you all know each other and you've been playing with each other for a long time.
Questions before I ask him.
Oh, sorry, mate. That's showbiz. I'm a professional.
Go on, carry on.
No, but I'm just saying that's the difficulty, isn't it, when it comes to coaching and parents? If the coaches are really invested, Teddy's coaches are brilliant. They spend a lot of time. There are 2 of them. One of them handles all the admin and stuff, which not many people talk about. But in Sunday League, it is a blag. It's a part-time job, really. And then the coaches, it's really important to them. One, because their son's in the team, but one, they want to do well. It's a badge of honour as a coach to do well and win with a team. So that must be frustrating as coaches when you're giving up your time and you want to do well and players don't turn up.
Yeah, we know stuff happens. We're not going to scream and shout at parents for not letting us know, things like that. Well, I wouldn't anyway. But maybe a little heads up or a message, or would be nice for a lot of people. It'd really just help them out, especially if they plan sessions for certain numbers or things like that. It would it'd make the world of difference.
Yeah, but I think it's worth saying, and I know that before we started this recording, you said I want this to be really positive about the positivity of being a football parent, and the fact is, parents, despite the fact sometimes make mistakes by not letting coaches know they're not going training or whatever, and we put a lot of mileage into getting our sons and daughters to play in football matches, and I must have done 1 billion miles driving all over the district, taking him to footy matches and stuff, and I don't. Obviously, I love it, but it's effort, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of time. It's also a lot of money, and it's a lot of miles, but then also you get the parents that do the tuck shop. They'll do the butties, things like that. They'll ref. They'll run the lines. They'll help you take the nets in. They'll respect barriers. And them kind of people are so appreciated by clubs and coaches because it really helps. It really, really helps.
Grassroots football is so reliant on parents. I mean, the coaches are generally speaking parents as well. You're a parent. The lad that you coach with is a parent as well. So the whole thing is fueled by parents. And I think we're all kind of grateful it exists, really. It's such a huge thing for bonding with your kids. I know that the meteoric rise of girls' footy has been massive for fathers and daughters and mums and daughters bonding as well, because that's something that really, 10 years ago even, you wouldn't have thought that you could get your daughter into playing Sunday League football. Whereas now it's just a normal run-of-the-mill thing, really, and it's huge. I see so many girls' teams training now, which opens it up to so many more people. And grassroots football is, and this is why I think this podcast is going to do so well, because grassroots football's magic, really, isn't it? It's there's no other sport on earth that really offers what grassroots football does.
No,
like
there ain't. You're right.
You can feel like a pro.
Women and girls next week. Actually, women and girls football is the episode we'll be doing next week.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Because I'm a massive believer in it, getting it out there to as many as possible.
Yeah, I mean the reason.
Not my club, I know that to those team.
Class, because the reason that there are a lot of critics of women's football. I know. I mean, I'm on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. It's an absolute cesspit of. There are a lot of people who are negative, saying, "Oh, the quality of women's football is not as good as men's, and it's hard to watch." And frankly, it's not at the quality of men's football. But that's because men stopped women playing footy for 50 years. And they're catching up very, very quickly. And I think we realised in 2000 at the 2012 Olympics that women, female footballers, can be class, and it's brilliant to see it evolving now and just giving us another football outlet that we can watch. And you can follow the Lionesses, and you can pick a female team. I know that Bradford City women's team, they're going on leaps and bounds, and it's class to see their results and stuff and how much investment there is in women's football. And I think ultimately it will catch up, really, because the men's game at the top end is absolutely crap at the minute. So I do think I know that this episode wasn't about women's footy, but you know what I mean.
I don't watch Premier League. I'll put a game on, and I'll just end up sitting on my phone. I just get bored.
Yeah, it's crap. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I dread the day that League One, League Two, Championship get to the sort of VAR money, not close to the club that the Premier League is, because as a Bradford fan that fans feel close to the club, you feel a part of it. And I honestly think that's why grassroots football's so big, and why you get so many volunteers, and why parents want to be involved, is because it's class to feel a part of something. As a
that's
team.
The thing that I think parents kind of lose sight that we're all in it together, really. Just because me and so many others are wearing a coach's top and we stood at the other side of the pitch from them, we've got a child on that pitch as well. We're in the same boat, they're playing in the same team, we all want the same things for the team, but also to be happy, to enjoy it. So I think we all need to just kind of come together and just be like, look, knock our heads together and just be like, we're all in the same boat. You don't need to be screaming and shouting, giving shit to refs when, because I'm stood at the other side of the pitch, I'm still a parent, but I'm not effing and blinding at the ref or...
Well, like in any aspect...
I've got to hold myself to a certain standard. You should be able to do that.
Like in any aspect of life, mate, though, people have got different attitudes towards stuff and different ways of controlling their emotions, so it's never going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. It just isn't, unfortunately. But the fact of the matter is that the big thing about grassroots football is that we're all a part of the same thing. You all want the same thing, but it's wanting your kids to enjoy football. It's not about necessarily winning. You're all there for the kids. It's not about you as a parent, you as a coach. It's about your child doing something that they enjoy doing, because the minute they stop enjoying it, it becomes a chore and it's awful. Teddy went through a spell of not particularly enjoying football.
Another next question.
Go on, ask me the question.
So if Teddy stopped playing tomorrow, what would you hope that he has taken away from grassroots football?
Oh, that is a good question. I think the biggest thing that I think I want him to look back on it and have enjoyed himself and have good memories of playing in good teams, scoring good goals. Is he proud of himself? That's it. I'm not particularly bothered about, whether he feels like he became a better footballer or anything. I want to know that he just enjoyed himself and that he's got those memories that we as adults had when we were kids, and that we still love thinking back to that time he scored that goal on a Sunday morning on a muddy pitch. I hope he's got that. And I hope that he looks back on it fondly. I think that's it. That's all I want to have happened for him. And I think he will. There are amazing things happening in grassroots football when you're part of a team, like football tournaments over summers. We did this brilliant beach tournament in Bridlington that is a massive memory for him because they won it, and it's a weird form of football playing on a beach, and it properly hurts your feet, but it's such a good day out with all the parents, with picnics and stuff. And then we've had really good ones over in Keighley at Marley, and in Shipley at Saltaire and stuff like that. It's brilliant, and I want him to have those memories, because I can still remember all that from when I was a kid, and I love it, and I want him to, and I hope that he feels the same way about grassroots footy.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I have got one more question. I don't know if it's fair to ask you this, but do you think some parents live their footballing dreams through their kids?
Yeah, totally. And I'll be lying if I said I didn't sometimes. And it's not, I don't, from my point of view, not in a negative way. I can feel, when he scores a goal, I feel as excited as he is. And that satisfies my want to play football. But you're right, there is kind of a toxic part of that where dads maybe failed footballers or injured footballers, and they think they know better than their son and bollock them basically and say, you should have done this, you should have done that, I'd have done this. So I think that there probably is a huge element of that. And sometimes, like, you look at David Beckham and the story with his dad and how his dad pushed him and it was really, went too far with him. Look at how Beckham turned out. Sometimes I think in elite sport, that mentality pays off.
Sometimes it does, but a lot of the times, Dominic, it's not.
No, it's awful. You're right. It's awful to see. But I, as part of my job, I work with a lot of pro sports people, a lot of them at the top end of their sport. And a lot of them have that mentality of, individualism, or, I work with some people, particularly in horse racing, who work with their families. And
it's a big family business, isn't it?
Big family business, and they're not particularly complimentary about each other sometimes. And that's not, but they're winners. And I think sometimes when you get to the elite end of the game, you are a bit like that. But the fact of the matter is, what we're talking about here, grassroots football, it's not the elite level, and you are just a mum or dad at the sideline, and you just need to let your kids enjoy it and enjoy it with them. Trust me, if your son's enjoying it and then you're enjoying it as well, that's a better feeling than it feels like when you get home and you think, God, I wish I hadn't shouted that at the sideline. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't forced him to do this. It feels so good to just enjoy it with your kid. I think that's the best bit about being a parent in grassroots football.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed that, mate.
Yeah, me too, mate. It's been good to talk to you. I mean, we talk as a producer and a presenter all the time, don't we? But we've never actually been able to talk about grassroots football, so it's been nice.
I've loved that. Next time I'm going to.
How do we? I know that at the end of every episode you shake hands with your guest. How are we going to do that? Are we going to do it through the?
Brilliant, mate. Really appreciate that. Thank you for giving up your evening.
No, my pleasure, mate. I'm going to put my producer out on that now. Don't forget to do your outro.
Well.
No, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Dom. And that was Dom with his insight into life as a football parent. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and like and follow on all our socials. Thank you.